Today we're going to make an ugly Christmas sweater. Let's build that. So I wanted to make an ugly Christmas sweater for a party, and I told my husband he could use it on his channel, but only if I get credit. So that is why you're hearing my voice today instead of his. So I started out with some black felt to be the back of my fireplace, and I measured it on my stomach to kind of see where to put it, how high to put it. So just kind of go off your body type. I'm a girl and have boobs, so I decided to put them below that. I also have some red, orange, and yellow felt that I'm using for the flames. So I started out with the red, and then I traced it onto the orange and cut the orange a little bit smaller just so that it was the same shape but just to a smaller scale. And then I did the same for the yellow. Once I had all my pieces cut, I stacked them on top of each other and made sure that they were actually the same shape. I did have to cut some corners off of the tips and the bottom, and I used a low temp glue gun to glue them all together. And once I made sure that they were all in place, I tacked them to the black felt. Once I got all those glued together, I set them aside and pulled out my sweater. I made sure to slide a board into my sweater so that when I hot glue the fireplace onto it, I don't glue my sweater together. I'm planning on putting some garland at the top as sort of a mantle, but I didn't want to use glue on the sweater because I was afraid that taking the sweater on and off would destroy the glue and the garland would fall. So I opted for a needle and thread option. I actually used twine instead of normal cotton thread because I felt like normal thread would be too weak and that the garland would sag. So I threaded my twine through a crochet needle because the eye is bigger, and I was strategic about my placement because I had these little ornaments that look like stockings that I'm also going to hang on the garland. So I just looped vertical stitches through the arms. I did one at the wrist so that the garland wouldn't just be flopping around. And then I did 2 more up the arm and 3 on the chest and then 3 down the other arm. Once I had my twine stitched through and cut, I laid out my garland. I started by anchoring on the wrist, and I worked my way down just to make sure that there wasn't any slack so we didn't have any pieces sagging or pulling too tight. And then for the rest of them, I didn't tie until I had my stockings there because I tied them together with the garland. And then on the chest, there's no stockings, so I just tied those as I went. And I added the stockings the same way on the second arm as I did on the first, securing the wrist last. And then I cut all the ends off the twine. There was a little bit of extra garland on the other side, so of course you'd want to cut that off so you don't have some random garland hanging off. The chest part was a little plain to me, so I found some silk flowers and I cut the stems off and put some hot glue on them and stuck them on. Once you cut the silks off of the stem, make sure you put an ample amount of glue on the back or the center of the flower and the silks will detach from the plastic part on the back. The sweater looked good, but it felt a little empty to me, so I made my sweet husband draw brick marks on there because I didn't trust that I wouldn't royally screw this part up. So he kindly mapped it out and freehanded a bunch of bricks on it for me. So there you have it, pretty easy little project. I'm wearing mine to a Christmas party that we're throwing for the youth at our church. So do it up and wear it to your own Christmas party. If you have any questions or comments or want to tell my husband how much of an awesome job I did, you can leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to You and I DIY. Alright guys, see you on the next project. Well, actually, you'll probably see my husband. Is this thing on? Sweater board, sweater felt, sweater glue, sweater, sweater.